Hello, this is the Logansport PTECH podcast. We're here with the Mayor Chris Martin.
Good morning.
Good morning, and then we have Zane Morphet and Jeramiah Frye in here. They have some questions too, but today's podcast we're going to be focusing on multiple things at once. We're just going to try to have a calm and nice collected podcast. So, how was your morning? What'd you do this morning?
Good. I got up, got dressed, and here I'm here.
Yeah.
I stopped at Dunkin'.
Yeah.
Got you guys donuts.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Thank you. And then you guys have anything to say? How you guys this morning went? How you guys?
Mine's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It is a Monday.
It's a Monday. It's a rough Monday after fall break. So
Right,
we're there.
exactly.
It was definitely rough getting up this morning. We're there though. We're here. We're here and we're having a good day.
There we go.
A thing that I really want to focus on that Jeramiah Frye, there's two Jeremiahs in here. It's confusing. I'm Jeramiah Gittings, that's Frye. The one thing that I brought up, or that he brought up that really came to my attention is like, have you ever thought about adding more like sports stores, like a Dick's Sporting Goods, Nike, Foot Locker, etc.?
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So right now, obviously, we have Dunham's. That's our main one. What we want to do, so our administration's focus has been on the sports industry itself. And so one of the things that we are working on right now is a pro basketball team for the city of Logansport. So we will have our own pro basketball team that will then compete against like Lebanon, their Leprechauns, and then Kokomo, their Wildcats, and those kinds of things. So once we get a team established like that, then you're going to start to see things like the sports stores, and you're going to see more of like the restaurants and stuff like that starting to show up because they're going to follow, those kinds of things. So yes, absolutely.
The more attention we bring, the more stuff you'll add. I get that.
Absolutely.
I get that.
Yes.
That's your question, man. You said you made some of these questions. Go ahead, take it off.
What food places are we gonna be getting here?
So right now we've got Popeyes is still coming in. We've got Beefaroo's, which is going to be replacing Haps East. We are working on a smoothie place, kind of similar to a Smoothie King. And then we have talked about some more of like a Wings, etc., Raising Cane's, those kinds of places. Chipotle we've talked about, so there's different places that we've been looking at and what fits. But the thing that I think a lot of people should understand is that in order for those businesses to come to Logansport, they have to have a want and a need. And so right now there isn't a want. There's a need in our community, and it shows. I mean, the studies show that. We get professional studies done for that reason, so that we can then share that information with those developers, and then they will then bring in the businesses. And so right now there isn't a want as much as the need. So right now we're trying to create that want for them to want to come here. And so by us adding all of these different stores that are getting ready to open. So for example, at the mall location, it's going to really start to excel next year. And so we've got Marshall's, Ollie's, and Five Below. All three of those stores are turnkey. And so what that means is the developer is building the actual building out. They're building the layout of the store for them. And then what they will do is they will then turn the key over to the business owner, the owners, which is Marshall's, Ollie's, and Five Below. And then at that point, they then hire the people. They then put the materials in there, blah, 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 those kinds of things. So with it being a turnkey, that means it's going to happen quicker. So right now, we're expecting Five Below to open at the end of November of this year. So next month, all right? And then Ollie's and Marshall's, they will then follow suit next February, March, somewhere around that area. So those things opening quickly like that is going to help accelerate that want from like a Raising Cane's or a Chipotle or, those kinds of places. So that's what we're waiting on, is just for things to kind of develop.
Yeah.
And then at that point, it's all natural.
Yeah, I mean, it's noticeable, so it's obviously needed. But have you ever thought about turning the mall into like Lafayette or Indy Mall, where you could just go there and hang out, have food places inside and stuff like that? Like eventually, not anytime soon, obviously that's a big project, but like eventually have like clothing stores in there and have it somewhere you could like go with your friends and hang out.
So there is the developer that we have that is doing the mall. That's the reason he kind of tore down the mall a little bit and made it more of what it is going to be now, is because the indoor malls they're not as popular in a smaller community like ours. Heck, even Kokomo kind of struggles sometimes with their indoor mall.
Yeah.
And so those are things that you have to look at from the developer standpoint. Me personally, I would like to see more indoor like playgrounds and indoor sports, things that you could do. And so that's what we're actually working on, is an indoor playground off of Race Street, which is right by Riverside Park. And so the idea is to put pour and play inside a big, huge building, which is the size of all 3 of these classrooms. And so putting pour and play in there, putting playground equipment in there on one side, and then on the other side, having an opportunity for hangout, for people to go and hang out, or for parents to sit there and watch their kids or whatever. And then while also having those things, we also want to have, my idea is to have like a projection screen that will be playing something on it. So like whether it be sports or cartoons or, whatever it may be. And then that would be able to be controlled by whoever's in the building that can control that.
And would that be a price to entry?
No.
So it's just going to be open?
So we own the building.
Yeah.
Right. So it's already owned by us. It's already owned by the utilities. So it makes it easier to be able to make that possible, Yeah. And so with us already owning it, we don't owe any money on it. No, there shouldn't be a cost for someone to be able to, come in and enjoy, the city as we see it.
It's a good thing. And have you ever thought about like getting a football team?
Sure.
Just like the basketball team that you're coming up with?
Yep. And so, next year. So this year was basketball. Next year we'll be working on a semi-pro football team. And then in 2026, I'm working on a baseball team. So the idea is to create Logansport to become more of a sports hub in a way for northern Indiana. Right now you have Fort Wayne, you have South Bend, you have all of those places up north that can sustain and support these pro teams. But then you get a community our size who can do it. You really start to open the eyes of people, across the country. Like, holy cow, this community of 18,000 already has a pro team. Like, that's huge, So those are things that I want to do. As the mayor, you come in and you have to handle the day-to-day stuff, the normal stuff. But on top of that, you have to have an open mind. You have to take those blinders off and not think about yourself. You know what I mean? You got to think about what in the community is going to excel and make your community the better community. And so by doing that, you then look at an industry that is not going to go away, right? And we know the sports industry isn't going anywhere, right? Yeah. Which is why after I'm mayor, I'm going into it. But that's the thing is you want to create that atmosphere, because I'm not going to be the mayor forever, And so when I'm done being mayor, I want to be able to leave knowing that I left not only a legacy of positivity for our community, but that I allowed the community to grow without me there. And so that's what you have to do. And so by creating these opportunities of sports, you're creating that feel for the community. Like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Instead of, hey, let's have more factories, let's do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that was what it was back in the day. Back in the 70s and 80s, that was the big push. It was manufacturing. It was, hey, we got to go to work 8 to 4, those kinds of things. It's not like that anymore. You know what I mean? Our world has changed. Our country has changed.
Definitely.
And if we don't adapt, of a community our size, if we don't start adapting to that, we will fail and we will fall and we will be stagnant again. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to prevent us from falling back into that stagnation and that mindset of let's have blinders on, let's just keep doing what we've always done.
I like this guy because I'm a big sports guy. So like seeing all this stuff coming to Logansport is really making me happy for the future.
Absolutely.
At Logansport.
Well, and that's the thing is we're also teaming up with the Colts and the Pacers and all of these different organizations throughout our state that are big in supporting the sports. Purdue University is a big one, Indiana University. So when you team up with these people, they're able to kind of guide you a little better. Like, hey, this is my idea. Where do I go from here? They're then able to guide you, in the right direction. So it helps. It helps.
With adding all this new stuff like the basketball team, and then next year football, and 2026 baseball. A lot of more people are gonna be moving to Logansport.
sure.
Have you ever thought like housing, making
Absolutely.
more houses, apartments, and
Yes.
stuff like that?
So we were talking on our way here, Zane and I and you, and we were talking about what's happening right now in Logansport, and me being on the news and everything like that. Not for the right reasons, right? Not for the reasons I want to be on the news for. But so with that, with us getting that attention, now is my time as the leader of this community to really put it out there. I am going to be now literally the face of Logansport, Indiana over the next 6 weeks. You know what I mean? So as this presidential election continues to wrap up, this is the time when the media wants to start interviewing people like me, right? Because I'm a Republican, and you've got, the Republican presidential candidate that's kind of made this a big deal. So, of course, they want to interview the Republican mayor. And so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about housing. I'm going to talk about how strong our police department is. I'm going to talk about how strong we are as a community and how even though we may have challenges, we will get through it and we will dominate at the end of it. And so by doing that, we were already prepared. In 2021, we started 8 new duplexes to be built in the city of Logansport on the south side. They will break ground before the end of the year. We have 264 units of workforce housing that we worked on in 2022. They plan on breaking ground next year. We have 52 new single-family homes on the east end of Logansport. They've broken ground. There's now 5 houses already built and owned. So, yes, housing is big. We are now wrapping up a deal where we're going to see 19 single-family homes along the river on the west side. So the idea, and then on the north side, we purchased 60 acres off of Chase and Davis Road. And so you're going to see a lot of housing in that area, and it's going to be more mixed use. So you're going to see, your duplexes or your triplexes or your complexes. But then you're also going to see your single-family home, your duplexes, those kinds of things. So it'll be a variety out there. And if you think about 60 acres, that's a lot of homes,
That's a lot of homes.
So yes, housing is big, and we knew it was big. It was a big issue back in 2020, right, when COVID hit. That was about the time where people were talking about, oh my gosh, housing is going to be a concern for our country and for communities across our country. And so we already knew it. We already knew that was going to be a battle. We knew it was going to be a challenge. And so what do? When you find that there is a challenge, you don't just stop. You address the challenge.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We did that,
Most
and
definitely.
so people are bringing up things like they'll bring up police, if there's a gang, if there is a migrant gang who comes into your community. The New York Post interviewed me on Friday, and they asked me that question. They said, there's rumors that there is a Venezuelan gang nearby. If they came into your city, would you be worried? Without hesitation, my response will always be no. Do you know why? Because we invested in our public safety in 2023. We built the first ever standalone police station in the city of Logansport in 2023. We gave the police department the largest raise in the history of Logansport at 30% in 2023. We got them a brand new SWAT vehicle in 2022. Am I worried? No. Because our men and women that fight for us every day in the Logansport Police Department, they got our backs. And they will always have our backs because I know they do. And so I'm not worried. I'm not worried. If something comes, we handle it, right?
Yes.
We address it. You don't run away. You take the challenge, you accomplish it, you get it done, and move on, right? Move on to something better. Learn from the experience, learn from the challenge. Whether you succeed at completely, taking care of the challenge, or let's say that part of the challenge you got through, part of it you didn't. Learn from it. Learn from the challenge. Learn from your mistakes. Learn not only from what you did wrong, learn from what you did right. And how do you do right? And how do you address future challenges moving forward from what you just experienced? And so that's what we've done, since 2020. Being the mayor, I had to step in. I was 28 years old, no political experience at all. I was the one that they counted out. Every single person, the majority of the city in Logansport was counting me out. They were like, there's no way this kid can be our mayor and he's going to succeed. He's not going to last 4 years. Here I am. I want a second term. I'm in my 5th year. Bring it on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't. Look, my family is blue collar, down to earth. My mom has been a CNA for 30 years. My grandma retired from a factory after 60 years at a factory. My grandfather retired from construction. He was a construction worker, a union construction worker. And my father still works in a factory. So for anyone to say that I came into this spoon-fed, they're wrong, right? It's just, they're wrong. I was not. My brothers and sisters, complete opposite of me. Complete opposite of me. Brothers are more, I don't know, they're more focused on other things, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I'm focused more on the politics and the sports and my future and those things. But I've always been like that. Since I was 15 years old, I've always wanted to be the mayor of Logansport, Indiana. Just Logansport, Indiana, because it's my hometown. I was born and raised here. I want to know that I can make a difference and that I'm going to leave my legacy knowing that it's going to be the better city when I left. That's what I wanted to do. I did it, and I'm here. So now that I'm here, it's time to take all those naysayers and prove them wrong, because I love it. I love it when someone says I can't do something, because I say, really? Bring it on, right? Like, bring it on.
Yeah, like.
So yeah, the challenges are huge, but yeah, housing I think we addressed. I kind of went off on a thing there, but
all good.
politician.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's one of those challenges, and we'll face many more challenges to come. And just know that you have a very strong mayor and myself, that I don't back down, I won't back down, and I will always fight for the city of Logansport.
That's great to know. And I just want to
That's a good sound
switch gears. I just want to switch gears real quick to something more serious, because my auntie, I have a cousin that has Down syndrome, and he's within the Hope community, and he's almost been hit because they're going too fast on that road. And I explained to my auntie how great I'm doing and what's going on between the podcast with you. And she was like, please bring this up to add slow down signs or a speed limit sign in that particular area, because these kids are like almost getting hit every day by the workers have told me, like her. And
Where's this? Is this over?
it's Hope, the community over by the church,
That's over by the. Also, is it the homeless shelter? Out that way,
I
too?
think so.
Yeah, I will definitely address that. Yes.
Because
I'm gonna write it down. That's what-
my cousin is like my number one person. I love him to
Sure.
death, and
Absolutely.
and if he were to ever, it'd definitely break her down, break my whole family down.
100%.
And my mom works for Peak Community Services. She's within that place, and she said that Matthew Warren cut them off. So now mostly all of her clients have no jobs. Like all of the ones that aren't high functioning have no jobs. And she asked me to bring that up to you too, to see if you can have anything worked out in that era.
Yep.
Because I feel like they need to be treated like normal people.
So-
they need to have jobs and see how life actually works, because
Absolutely.
it's just how it is. And I don't want Down syndrome kids, not even, because my mom works with adults. My cousin that's 9 now, he's with the kids. They don't have jobs, and there's kids out here this close to being hit, just trying to go to their car, to go to their parents' car to go home, because there's no like warning sign or anything around there, and it's scaring my mom and my aunt.
For sure. Yeah,
So-
no, I will definitely take care of that. What I will say though is that we have been working on more autism awareness. I'm a big autism advocate. Excuse me. And so one of the things that I wanted to focus on in my first 4 years was autism awareness and making sure that people are aware of what autism is and those kinds of things. And so in doing that, we also want to make sure that those with autism and the parents who have children with autism have the services available in our community. They don't have to drive to Indianapolis or Kokomo or Lafayette, wherever it may be. They're able to stay right here at home. And so that's what we did. We have a new autism service right there on Broadway, right by the city building. And so that's one. The other things that we're working on a new ability to be able to help with mental health. Fort County, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Fort County Counseling did leave Logansport. They are now headquartered in Peru, Indiana. And I will say that we have worked, I want to say 2 or 3 different companies over the last 5 years we've worked with on mental health because we knew that Fort County was leaving. Fort County told us they were leaving eventually, so we knew that was coming. So we had to prepare for that, and so we have. And so Bowen is someone that we've been working with really well, and so they will also help with mental health services. So on that front, yes, I can take care of the sign, but I did want to kind of go into more detail and elaborate that we are working on things like that too, and that's the thing is I wish that I could just have like glasses on me all the time and you guys see my POV throughout the entire day.
Yeah.
Because you would see that some people think, well, the mayor's bringing in businesses and restaurants and that's it, or he's supporting public safety, or he's doing, but what about the stuff that funnels down, right? That normally you don't hear about, like the mental health, the autism, the sports, those kinds of things you don't really hear about. And that's why I was excited about doing this podcast, because it allows me to not only talk in a comfortable setting, and not feel like you guys are judging me. Are you?
No.
Okay, no. But yeah, that's why I wanted to do this podcast, because I want you guys to know, there's so many different things that go into being the mayor. Now, here's the other thing. You could do the basics. You could just stick to the basics. You could be a basic mayor, but why? Right?
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to be basic? So I'm not going to be basic. I'm going to do the extra stuff. So, and that's why I'm excited about this podcast. So yes, please let her know. I will take care of those signs.
Yes,
I'll work on that when I get in the office today.
Yes, sir. I mean, my bad. That's
Yes.
my bad.
You're okay.
But do you have like an estimated date for stuff inside the mall to be opening, like Marshalls and
Yep.
Ollie's? Like,
Yep.
I know you said by the end of next month for 5 and below.
Yes, Five Below.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the Marshalls and Ollie's?
Marshalls and Ollie's is set for
Yeah,
February,
yeah.
March, somewhere around that
February,
area.
March,
Either
February,
February
March.
or March. Yep. Yep.
Okay, well.
Absolutely. Jimmy John's should be opening this week or next week. We should see Beefaroo's opening up within the next month.
Okay.
That'll be in the old Haps East building. We should have an announcement on the smoothie place soon. We are also working on road projects. So Mall Road, we're looking at mill and fill, which is basically just paving the road.
Yeah.
But we want to pave Mall Road because it's a disaster. and then there's also other roads around the community that I want people to know. We know that the roads suck. Remember, we drive them too. You know, like we live in town.
That's why, like,
we drive them too.
my grandma, I explained to her what I'm doing and stuff like that, and she was like, "Well, he needs to be more considerate about these roads." I'm like, "Grandma, he drives.
We are.
He knows. It's just there's a lot of stuff. That's why I really didn't bring up the roads, because it's something that
and
obvious.
for you guys, when you guys hear these things, this is another reason why I like doing this podcast, because now I'm able to tell you guys what's going on, and now when your parents have questions, you can be like, actually, he brought that up in the podcast, right? Like
Yeah.
this is your guys' opportunity to help me grow the city and for people to be actually informed with facts instead of misinformed. And so one thing that I want to bring to your attention is that the reason the roads are so messed up right now is because we're doing the lead line replacement project. Now you have to keep in mind that's over $3 million per project that we have gotten a grant for that cost the city taxpayers $0. And what we're doing is we're replacing the lead lines in everybody's home. So not only is it just being replaced from the city infrastructure side of things, they're also replacing it up to your home, which means that little section that we don't think about that is underground from the road to your home, that's supposed to be paid for by you. The homeowner is supposed to pay for that. But because we got the grant, we're now able to save the homeowner over $20,000. So consider that, right? Like, just keep that in mind. That's why the roads are being torn up. So since they won the second grant, this is Logansport Utilities, since they won the second grant to continue that, what we've done, we've had to take a step back, right? Because you don't want to pave a brand new road that was just torn up and then for them to have to go back in and replace another line. You know what I mean? At the same time. So we're trying to take assessment of what roads are the most important right now to really get fixed once this project is done. And then what we will do is we will then go to the state and ask for money, for grant money, that will then help us be able to lower the cost for the taxpayers to be able to pave a lot of these roads. So it's going to happen. You know, it just, again, it takes time. Right. And again, another challenge. But
Another
we got
challenge
it, right?
that
We
you
got
gotta,
this.
You got to tackle. We're
That's
gonna
right.
we're getting there.
We got this.
Well, you guys got anything?
Where will the smoothie place be?
That is going to be behind Speedway in that empty parking lot. So it's funny because we a lot of people say, you know, the older generation that have been here a while, they'll say, man, you know, it's great. You know, you're finally taking, you know, empty parking lots that we've seen forever, and there's finally stuff being built in it. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. You're right. Well, actually, yeah, because we're literally building a smoothie place inside a parking lot. You know, that's all you guys see, and it's right here, so it's right by the high school, so it's perfect.
Most definitely.
Perfect location.
When I can drive out.
Right after the games.
Yeah.
Boom.
Right before school.
There you go. Exactly.
I mean, it's just
Exactly.
it's all convenient, all very convenient.
Yep.
To
Absolutely.
anything. No. Well, I think it's about 20. About wrap it up.
Okay.
We got classwork to do, and we have more important stuff to do later on in the day.
Perfect.
So, thank you for coming.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank Jeremiah, Frye, and Zane. Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah.
And then that we'll close it out.